And we go down to public participation. At this time, we don't have any at this time. We move down to staff reports with Dr. Porter.
Thank you, President Barty and board members. So far, it's been a great 6 weeks. On Friday, tomorrow, we will give out our second progress report. So report grades were due today. So we are under the impression that all teachers put in their grades. And now tomorrow, progress reports will go out to our students. That will be the second progress report, and the next 3 weeks we will give out our first report card. So we are excited about that. Things are going very well, and thank all of you who participated in the parade, the homecoming parade on yesterday. Very, very well attended. Students were really good. Our parents were there. They had a great time. And it lasted for a long time. It was a long parade. So, but a very good parade. And I think everyone, the good thing about when everyone is together, like everyone was happy. They were just, there was a lot of candy. So I'm sure kids came to school this morning wired up. And that was a good thing.
I had one of them.
You had one. That's great. So we are excited about that, and so many great things that are happening this school year that we are most proud of. So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Lott, and she'll give you some highlights of what's happening with us in the Port Arthur Independent School District.
While we're waiting to go to the first slide, I found out today that the Beaumont Enterprise did come to the parade, the photographer.
Yes.
Took over 1,200 pictures. She, of course, is going to narrow that down. But she asked how many participants did we have. We had between 65 and 70 participants, but there were groups that had multiple cars. So it was even more than that by Ms. Broussard's count. Thank you, sir. So this is our report from August 25th to September 1st. In the month of September, we had 11 observances. And if you look at the Fine Arts, Educational Arts and Education Week and the Educational Technology Day, those visuals actually feature our fine arts students performing and their artwork. And then the Educational Technology Day features how we are using technology in our classes and even in the gym with the Lou system. We have added to our observances Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So on next Thursday, we will be wearing burgundy in observance of that. And throughout the month of September, we have been wearing gold to support childhood cancer. Some of our campuses are participating in a fundraising effort with the American Cancer Society, and they have different activities that they are using the Go Gold on Wednesdays to help with their fundraising efforts. And it's not just the children, it's the staff, and as you can see, some of us at the administration building as well have been wearing our Gold on Wednesdays. These artwork pieces that you see are from Thomas Jefferson Middle School, how they celebrated National Arts and Education Week, and we are still receiving donations of book vending machines from the United Way, and you can look at our elementary kids' faces how excited they are to receive those book vending machines, and those books are given out as reward incentives for the kids to encourage reading at the elementary level. So we are very grateful to the United Way for making that happen for our campuses. This year for homecoming, we had our very first Titan Spirit Challenge, and the challenge was to see which campus had the most school spirit. And when I tell you that all of our campuses went all out, that's really an understatement. These campuses are so competitive. Every hall at every building is decorated in red, silver, black, and white. Our first place winner was Wheatley School of Early Childhood. They literally had a whole tailgate going on. They had a barbecue food truck. They had a snow cone truck. They had the old-fashioned cars blasting music. They even had decorations on the school bus windows. They had bleachers for the parents to sit in, and they tossed giveaways to the parents. And their VOE students stayed for the pep rally. You can see one of the it's two football players that they're VOE students. So Wheatley came in first place, and then Port Acres Elementary put on the whole pep rally. They came in second place, and then Sam Houston third place. But a lot of the elementary campuses were doing pep rally type activities and parades, and the kids were just thrilled to participate. I don't know which campus was the loudest because I've never heard kids scream that loud, and the staff was even more excited. It's just as excited as the kids were. And that was last week leading up into this homecoming week. And we do have videos that the media team shot at each campus. So those will be forthcoming to show to the community on our social media platforms. We did have our audio video students from the Kate campus to produce a commercial to advertise the fact that we were selling the security Chromebook insurance, and they produced a commercial in English and in Spanish, and we aired the commercial on our social media platforms in the evenings when we have our peak audience, and we aired them multiple times. So hopefully that encouraged parents to actually purchase the insurance. I know I purchased it because $25 is better than if something happened and I have to pay for a whole nother laptop. We have been posting our mental health and wellness tips with our Mako Mindful partnership on Wednesday nights, because that's our peak time at 7:00 is when we have the most people engaged on our timeline. So we've started posting these in the evenings because they are beneficial to families as well as our students. So hopefully we're getting more viewership on those on Wednesdays. Our culinary arts and cosmetology students at the Kate building are hard at work. This is some photos that were sent in so that you can see that the cosmetology students are practicing, and they will be opening up to the public soon. And our Kate students are in the kitchens cooking. As far as athletics are concerned, we had 3 of our varsity Titan players to make the Beaumont Enterprise top 15 high school prospects, number 6, number 8, and number 13 on the list. We are also in tennis season and cross-country track season, and our middle school volleyball and middle school football seasons are in full swing as well. So we post these This Week in Titan Sports every Monday so that our followers see what sports competitions we have for the week. For alumni recognition, one of our alumni, Constable Bates, was named Constable of the Year, which is a nationwide honor. We had 2 of our employees, Dr. Jones and Mr. Nelson from Memorial High School, are being honored by Southeast Texas YPO as 40 under 40. And Jefferson alumni Gloria Succumbi, whose dad teaches French at Memorial, her children's book reached #1 on Amazon. Brad Coleman was honored by the city. We are remembering our former administrator, Bessie Johnson, and also former teacher, Emma Bonton, and former attendance clerk and stadium worker, Lisa Davis. And then the Houston Association of Port Arthurans made their annual donation to our district social workers. They bring uniforms, spirit shirts, and this year they added belts. And they were also able to secure clear backpacks from another donor to add to their uniform donations this year. So our social workers will determine who will receive those items based on need. We did have to put a notice out because when people saw that on Facebook, they thought we was giving away uniforms, and we had to make it clear that the social workers will determine on a need basis who those items are being given to. We have been repeatedly posting announcements about our school board meetings in case the public would like to attend in English and in Spanish. We're continuing to do throwback pictures from historical moments in PAISD. And we did a how-to video for people who would want to watch the football games on the how to purchase a stream package for watching the football games online. On the right, that is a invitation from our special education department for families of children who have autism to attend that webinar, and that's a state requirement. And so we put the visual announcement out in English and in Spanish. We have also been helping, I should say, GT Tame, the Zenos and Kudos Youth Organization, and the youth branch of the NAACP, helping them to recruit new members. All of those organizations are starting up their fall activities for this school year. And so we posted their interest meeting invitations on our socials. And we're also starting to share links from newspaper articles for things that we think would benefit the community, and not just students, but their parents and families as well. We posted an article that Lamar State College was offering discounted courses. There was an article that mentioned resources for suicide prevention, because September is Suicide Prevention Month. And there was an article about hands-on EMT opportunities for students that is being given by Acadian in Beaumont. More community engagement. Our high school had an event called Dad's Dominoes and Dialogues, where they invited men from the community to come out and engage with the students and the principal at the high school. The Marching Flames will host a mini Flames camp next weekend, and then there's also a mini cheer camp that will be held in October. We did find one sign around town. We're thankful that Christian Faith Church put Go Titans on their marquee. What you have in front of you is something I'm going to talk about. Here it is. We wanted to provide businesses with a sign that shows support for Titans. So we put different options out on our social media and had the public to vote on which sign out of the 5 options would they want to see, or would they want us to duplicate to give out to businesses. And the ones that you have in front of you is for you to take home if you want to post those in the windows of your homes. But we are also going to give them to local businesses to post on their windows, and like the glass doors in the windows as you enter their businesses. So hopefully, we can continue to try to paint our town red, black, and white. We have a reimagined way that we are boasting about our football team. After our first home football game, we posted that the final score was Titans 24, the Ops 7, and that post went viral and reached over 65,000 people. So we continue to do it every Friday after our football games, and it has really taken off and drawn the kids in the community together to be proud of our Titans and their accomplishments on the football field. And now we're starting to use some of the pictures that we come across from the elementary campuses with what I call the final scorecard for the Friday Night Lights. And so the parents and the schools and the kids are really loving it. It's kind of like they wait for Friday night to see what the visual is going to look like for the end of the game score. For our social media summary for the month, we had 29 newspaper articles, 4 television news stories. Our media team is not only working on the Titan Spirit Challenge videos, but every Monday they are going to go around to all of the campuses to make our Students of the Week visuals into videos. So they're going to go to the campuses and film a message from the Student of the Week. And so all of their Mondays are booked. And what the students will be saying, they'll say their name, their grade, and their school. The little kids will say something like what they aspire to be when they grow up or what they like about school. And then the secondary kids will say what college they may plan to go to or what their career aspirations are. So it'll be something quick, but it'll be like a video version of Student of the Week instead of just a social media visual. Our Facebook reached over 260,000 people. Instagram has reached almost 7,000, and then our YouTube videos have reached 2,500. And we had 2 crisis communication calls since we last met. Our most popular posts is the video at the top right is one of the students from the Kate Culinary Arts program. Her video was the most popular. I believe she was scrambling some eggs, and it reached 17.6 thousand people. And then the photo gallery of the kids from the CTE programs reached 17.8 thousand. And then the Titans versus the Ops, those are the stats for that. And this is where you can find us on Facebook. Every campus now has an active Facebook page and some of our auxiliaries as well. The Flames, the softball team, the band, and the cheer. And I'm sure as other seasons start, there may be other organizations that also start their own social media. But these are the legitimate official pages for all of our campuses and our auxiliaries. And that concludes my report.
Okay.
Yeah. Board members, I would like to say thank you to Mrs. Lott, and I hope you can see that there's so much that this district is doing. And I mean, she has brought it to the surface. You know, we've done a lot, but she has put in so much time and effort to get them to where they are now. So she is really in her element. She is media, all around communication, and she does it well. So thank you, Mrs. Lott.
Thank you. Ms. Lott, I want to say on that note, I did attend the Domino's Dad and Dialogue. That was a great event. It was a lot of noise talking because they was playing dominoes, and everybody know you play dominoes, it gets very intense in there with the counting. But it was a good deal. A lot of coaches was there. We had some guys coming there with the grandparents came in there with their kids, with their grandchildren. We had some dads coming there with their children, and we played dominoes. We talked, we laughed, and told stories, and we also watched some football, some college football games, and then we did eat real good as well. So it was a good event with the Dads, Dominoes, and Dialogue.
Great. Anything else? Okay, next, I would like to introduce you to the Port Arthur Independent School District Police Chief, Mr. Howard Siv. So I'm going to ask him to come to the front, to the podium, and give greetings to the board members and to those that are in the audience. And our board members may have some questions for you. You're a police officer, so don't be intimidated by them. You know, they have a lot of questions all the time.
Good evening, Dr. Portery, board members, and members of the community. I'm Howard Silva. I'm your new police chief here at Port Arthur ISD. I come with 21 years of experience in law enforcement. I headed up the Wiley College Police Department, started from ground up. I worked here in the Beaumont area. I came with Sheriff Stevens. She was my chief at Prairie View, and when she won the election, I came this way and I kind of ran her training and HR division. But I am really excited and happy to be here to take the role of your police chief and to secure your kids, the staff members, or anybody that walk through the doors of any of the facilities of the district.
Trustees, you have any questions? I know we do. Nobody? Ms. Ambrose? Chief, just tell us, are you married, have kids?
Oh, yes. So I've been married for 13 years. I have 5 kids, one's deceased. All of my kids are graduated except for one. My last one is in high school, her senior year. She goes to Katy ISD. Let's see. What would you like to know? I was a military person, 13 years in the military, served during Operation Iraqi Freedom. I hold many titles within law enforcement. I have a lot of certifications. I'm a instructor, firearm instructor, licensed to carry instructor through the state, teach self-defense classes. So
I will say this with Chief Siv and some of the other police officers that we've had in the past, and I appreciate their confidentiality, their lack of putting themselves out there, because as a police officer, I can understand continuing to keep your family and you safe at all times. You know, I used to wonder why police officers didn't talk so much about their families, but they're always in the mode of safety and security, especially for their families. So I've learned that in working with police officers, and I respect that you can't know everything about the leaders in security.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for your service to our country and welcome to the Port Arthur Independent School District.
thank you.
Dr. Brown?
Likewise, I'm proud of you and thankful for your interest in working with the school district and the children, and we're just so glad to see you. Welcome.
Mr. Getwood?
I also agree with their sentiments as well. I just have one question. So what would be your overall vision for the school district moving forward? You have the opportunity to come in and see and work. So what would be your overall vision moving forward?
So my vision is, my ultimate goal is to make the Port Arthur Independent School District Police Department accredited. And that means bringing it to the highest level. I want, when people think about the school district, they're gonna, first of all, think about the education here in Port Arthur, but then I want them to know that their kids, if they come to school here, are gonna be secured and safe by the highest trained police officers in this area.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to, I'll say on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we would like to welcome you here to the city of Port Arthur and the Port Arthur Independent School District. Sometimes we might might come up a little harsh, but we mean well because we put our children and our staff first. First, we put our children first, and then our staff. I believe children first, staff second, and with protection and protecting them. And hopefully we have the right man at the job to take care of that and to keep our kids safe, our staff safe, and welcome to Port Arthur.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief. As you know, we're still working with our bond. We are hopefully on the last stretch, and there are a lot of projects that are out there. I know you had questions about Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and the Support Service Center. Mrs. Jeans leads our bond team, along with Mr. Cyprian, Mr. Ortolan, and Mr. Rito, along with a whole lot of other contractors and people that we depend on to get everything right. It's been a journey, but it's been a great journey when you can walk into schools. The main thing that I'm very proud of is that we have no portables. Especially now, we had that vision of not having portables. We never thought that we would be in trying to make sure that security was where it needs to be today. At that time, we had students walking from outside into the schools for PE, for lunch, some to use using the restroom as well. But now all of our students are under one roof, and that helps us in the way of keeping them safe. So even though we didn't know what we were doing when we went that route, it has paid off in 2023. So we're just ecstatic about that. But we still have some things we want to do. Our buildings, we're still upgrading and making sure everything is where it needs to be. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Jeans to do an overview, and then we'll ask Mr. Cyprian, Mr. Ortholon, and Mr. Rito to come and join us once Ms. Jeans is finished to just talk about some of the things that we're doing.
Thank you. Board of Trustees, I really just wanted to first give you an idea of what we have done with the bond. The bond has been around since 2014. And in that time period, we had a vision that some of you that may remember of some things that we thought that we could get accomplished in the short term, but we've had a lot of things that come up, such as COVID and things of that nature. So we're excited about the new schools that we have built, such as Travis and Sam Houston, and the renovations that we did at Terrell. We still have some additional renovations that are underway for Terrell, but we did do significant renovations there at Terrell. We built a new Port Acres. When we first envisioned, we were planning to do something simple as just adding on to the old school. But when we got into it, we realized it really we needed to do a little more than that. So we built a new school. So the teachers and students are enjoying those new campuses. And of course, I can't leave out the ninth grade center because that was a big addition too. Now, keep in mind, this was not our first bond. So we had some other bonds that we did in addition to this one, and that helped us to get a real complex of facilities at the high school that looks really, really great. I've had people from all over the country that have been here and they've talked about how wonderful it is to see our school district. And some people are surprised that we have done that much in our time and in that time period. We still have a few things remaining, as Dr. Porter mentioned, and those projects that we have remaining. We talked to you about it. We've got approval for the Support Service Center. And at the Support Service Center, we have a target date of, I think it's January of 2025, that we're hoping to have that project wrapped up and completed. Lincoln, the auditorium was a big one for us, and we finished the Lincoln auditorium. We should be finishing up by the end of this month or the first part of next month. What we're doing now is what you do is a walkthrough to try to make sure that you haven't missed anything in that school and in the locations. But we're virtually finished at Lincoln with the renovations that were included in our bond, which was the auditorium. We were working on TJ, and TJ, we included it for the auditorium as well, and we got started on it, and it's well under its way to try to get it done. It's going to take us a little bit longer. One of our biggest challenge is with chillers. As you know, since everything that has happened, with COVID and all the other things, it has caused supply chain delays. So we're delayed at TJ, but they are working feverishly to get it done. In fact, we had to work with them to get on the chiller for TJ. We had to get them to change the timeline because of supply chain issues and go for a brand that we had not used, but we had to in order to get the project finished in a reasonable time period. For that project, the timeline is sometime before the end of this fiscal year. Then we have the, what other projects? Let's see. We're working on one of our projects now is we're looking at maybe we have to move some of the, we're renovating PAC to move our alternative center there, and we're just starting on it. We have some other little smaller projects, but those are the bigger projects. We have another small project that we're doing at the stadium, where we're doing the parking lot and we're doing some work there. The work we're hoping that the construction folks are telling us it should be finished by the end of October. And then we're looking at Memorial High School. And at Memorial High School, we are doing a covered practice field. Does that give you some idea that we've been busy?
Yes. Yeah. And I want to say this, and Ms. Jeans did mention some things, but I want to thank this board because the board, our employees, our students, and our entire community, the bond passed in 2004, and directly after in 2017, we went through Harvey.
17.
Harvey not only stopped the PAISD, it stopped the entire community. And right after, we had to rebuild. It wasn't, the entire community was rebuilding, and we kept moving. And as soon as we got to a point we thought we were just about safe, COVID hit at the end of 1920, and we had to stop again. So those were major, and people may think, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? But we've had some major crossovers. And with the board's support and with our employees and with our parents and staff members, we were able to get over those hurdles. And that is where we are now. So we are made of tough material here in Port Arthur. No matter what they say, we are made with tough material, and we're not finished yet. So, Dr.
Mr.
Brown.
President, Superintendent Portery, Ms. Jeans, and others associated with the bond programs that we've enjoyed for several years, I just want to applaud the staff, Dr. Portery, and any and all who've had any role to play, the boards that have been involved, for putting in place a very, very nice environment for learning in this community. I still remember when we were about to build the high school, how some people, some very, I'm gonna call them well-known, prominent people, resisted putting that high school where it currently is located. Then right after it was built, all of a sudden, people want to have programs there. Some of the same people, you remember, that didn't want the school built there, still are having programs there because they think it's such a nice facility. But my main point, this room right here, somebody asked earlier, I won't call names, but somebody asked earlier, was this building always here as part of Stillwell? But it wasn't. But my main point really to say, I'm so delighted that our children and staff have such nice facilities in which to learn and work. But it didn't happen by accident.
No.
And I appreciate the leadership and the hard work. And I particularly want to thank Ms. Jeans for keeping up with the money.
Yes.
Because Ms. Jeans bought something else about the money. Y'all know that. Yeah, but it's so great that she is, because other things you get in trouble for, test scores are important, right?
Yes.
But most often what you get in trouble for is not keeping up with the money.
Yes.
But we not only keep up with the money, we typically have a little extra to do things with because of this conservative approach that we've taken. So congratulations, Dr. Pottery and staff, Ms. Jeans in particular, but also staff who had any role to play in this environment, in this situation. Thank you.
And let me say this, and we are fortunate, after Mrs. Jeans left that role of CFO, another one just like her came behind her in the way of Ms. Davis. Now, Ms. Jeans is the type, she will talk you to death and telling you why no. Ms. Davis just tells you no. I mean, you're like, okay, can you tell me why? Because we just, she's like your parents, no, and don't ask me again. So they were well trained, and I'll say this, they even tell me no. But I trust my people. So when they tell me no, I understand I may want something, but we have to trust each other. And when they tell me no about a finance or something, I understand why. So it has been good. I will ask Mr. Cyprian to come forward. We have some questions about TJ in the parking lot. Of course, we have some work going on there. We have homecoming on tomorrow, but Mr. Cyprian has been working very tirelessly along with his team, Mr. Arthurlon. Come on up, Arthurlon, come on. And Mr. Rito, that's a team of 3, but they work extremely hard together. And one thing about it, those 3 guys seem to have fun, even when we're stressed. They seem to still have fun with what they're doing. So,
good evening, trustees and Dr. Portery and the staff. We are having fun. We're making sure that we're doing everything we need to do to make sure our children are getting what they need so that they can receive a good education. Like Dr. Portery said, we got a great team here. We all work together well. Me and Mr. Rito have been running hand in hand for 5 years. And Mr. Rito just turned 60 yesterday.
Happy birthday, belated birthday.
No, but we are right now into our bond projects, and one of the parking lot was not part of our bond project, but we had ran into a situation that brought safety on board. And once something safety happens, I'm very acute to that. I want to make sure that we are getting the safety issues resolved immediately so that we can make sure that everybody that comes to our facilities are safe. That is paramount to me, and I'm quite sure it is to you. The objective with the parking lot was to try to get it done before the school year started. But we ran into hurdles, and we kept running into hurdles. And we were able finally to get everything ironed out to get started. And we got started, and it's just been one thing after another trying to get this parking lot repaired, because we have to do that because we have a lot of people come and use that parking lot to take care of their athletic needs. So we are now in the process of those guys replacing the underground piping, which had been degraded because I think the parking lot was built in the 70s, and it's just a lot of water degradation underneath there, and we need to get that back going. And so Mr. Orderlone, he has stepped up, and he's taken charge of this project and has moved it along very good. And I know that we are trying our best to make sure that we still can conduct athletic activities even while we're doing the project. There's no reason why the project should stop us from having the activities for our students. So Other than that, we are moving in the right direction. I think that we are making positive steps because we ran into some hurdles and some mountains on this particular project. And I'm gonna let Ken kind of share a little bit more in that area.
Thank you. I have I've been employed with the district now for 3 years as a project coordinator, and I've had opportunity now to work to help close out the Port Acres school. Now we're under the Lincoln Auditorium, the TJ Auditorium. We've completed the renovation of the band hall at TJ as well. As Ms. G mentioned, we now have the drawings complete, and we're receiving bids on the athletic additions at the high school, covered practice field, and all the field events. We're going to put some more lighting around the track and some additional stadium bleachers on the visitor side. And of course, this parking lot has been an issue for, actually it started October 22, and just through the COVID and some of the other conditions that we've been under, and plus all the projects seem to experience this material delivery dates. As Ms. Jean said, the Lincoln Auditorium, originally it would be 8 months before we receive the equipment, the mechanical equipment. Well, if you start the project and you have to wait, you lose ground. You just have to stop and come back in a month or so. But we did overcome it. They were able to get the equipment earlier than what was scheduled. So, as Ms. G said, we still have there across the street the support service center, which is going to house all the maintenance, transportation, textbooks, records, print shop, and now the police department. So it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to completing these bond projects for everybody. So thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm sorry. I agree with the money.
Good evening,
We don't
everybody.
have to keep it around to find out where it's hidden too, you know?
All right. Good evening, Superintendent, President, all the board members, everybody in attendance. I want to say that anytime that we have any projects and anybody that Port Arthur ISD deal with, especially with our team that we have expectations that we set forth, and we make sure that when they come into the room that they know that they're dealing with people that know exactly what they want, and that we want them to give us their best. So anytime that we deal with anybody, we make sure that they understand that. We do understand when there's situations beyond their control, but we still ask questions to make sure that they stay on task and give us the information that we need, so we get our projects done as soon as possible. And just like Mr. Sipian said, with the stadium, that situation with a person almost falling down, that was something that we had to take care of. Looking at that project, the underring of the actual parking lot, because of all the water we had and everything that was underwater, caused that damage to actually happen right there by the drains, because that was the weakest point. All right. But other than that, all our projects are moving along. As soon as we get our materials, our expectations is for our contracts to do the best job for us that they possibly can. Y'all have any questions for us?
Any questions? Go ahead, Ms. Skipwood.
I didn't have a question. It was more so of a statement. First and foremost, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But I just wanted to also offer my same congratulations to Dr. Portery and to everyone who is working on this, because oftentimes we take for granted all that it takes to really revitalize and keep buildings standing tall and beautiful to really be here. And it really warms my heart to hear that we are moving forward with Thomas Jefferson's auditorium, because I remember when I was in Head Start, that's what my graduation was. I still have my pictures there with my little red cap and gown on. And so to know that that legacy is going to continue on. It really brings great joy to not only myself, but the citizens of Port Arthur. So thank you all for your tireless work and just working through all the hurdles and things. Like you said, when things sit for so long, sometimes things happen on the ground that we don't really see. And so I just want to thank you all for moving forward beyond the hurdles to ensure that we revitalize these buildings to keep them standing tall and beautiful and still here in our district as what they were when they were built. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms.
I
Amber?
think the next two projects that will come to the board will be the classroom additions for Lakeview and classroom addition for Adams. So we met with the architect today and finalized the drawings, so we will go for board approval for the procurement, I think, next on those two projects. So.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this question is for everybody except for the superintendent. At what point did we know that the piping was messed up at the stadium in the parking lot? At what point did we recognize that issue?
We recognized that at the time the
October
lady
22.
stepped almost into the hole in her, almost got injured in the parking lot.
And when was this again?
That was last year, last school year, last football season, because it was at a football game that happened.
Okay, my issue that I have is we knew this situation happened in 2022.
Yes.
It's 2023, and we're getting it started in the season of football. The issue that I also have is that we're having construction happening in the parking lot of the football facility that we use that also brings about another hazard because somebody can get hurt while this construction is going on. So my thing is, we knew about it in 2022, in October. It is now September 2023, and we're just now getting that work done.
Yes, there was a lot of hurdles that we ran into because when you looked at the timeline which we started, which was December last year, we started this process, and we ran into cost. We ran into getting people that would bid the job. We ran into a lot of issues that just was not on the roadmap. And so when we ran into those issues, we had to deal with them. And one of the biggest issues was getting the information from the engineer or the architect so that we can take it and bring it to bid. And it took a while to get that information in. We didn't get that information, I think, till March of this year. And then by the time we started going through the process and trying to get pricing on that, the pricing was huge. It was 300 plus.
But wouldn't it be to me, that's just my opinion. I don't know about anybody else on the board, but having that work done, okay, we understand that we had to wait, we have trials, and we had obstacles that we had to go through. But waiting to the season, my main concern is I don't like construction going on in the season. Right now, and there's several projects going on that the board that have not came before the board, Lil's many projects. Prime example, the concession stands. I have an issue with the concession stands being done in the season of football, and it's being a rush job in my eyesight, because I guarantee you, if I walk through the building, I'm going to see some flaws. And so my deal is, why are we doing things in the season that we use those facilities? We know basketball season getting ready to start. Why not expect the basketball stadium, the gym, and make sure everything is working, instead of when the season starts, we find out, the scoreboard not working, and we can't use the scoreboard because something has went out because we didn't check that prior to that season being started on.
May I respond to you on a couple of that? So one thing that I'm not sure the board completely understands is the procurement laws that we have to abide by. So in order for us to do the project just on the parking lot, we had to secure an engineer. So we're stuck with the engineer. We tell him in October of 2022 that we've got a problem. He comes out, he checks, he looks. It takes him 5 months to get back with us on what he thought would be what the solution would be. Then it takes another 3 months. We came to the board. We came to you. We told you that we were working on it. We had to come to you to get you to approve the delivery method, which meant by getting the delivery method, we tell you exactly how we plan to procure that. But then we have to go out to bid. And as Mr. Cyprian mentioned, when we went out to bid, we only had one bidder. Well, that he bidded $300,000. Well, the engineer said it was only going to cost $100,000. Well, guess what? We didn't even have the $100,000. We had to make some compensation.
But I understand that, Ms. Jean.
So
The
again,
question-
like I said,
hold on,
our
Ms. Jean.
timeline is that for
Hold
us.
on, Ms.
when
Jean. Hold on, Ms. Jean. The question is, I'm having, if we know that, why are we starting the projects in the season? Wait till football season over with, when we not having that many people at that stadium to start the project.
We didn't start the project at the season. We started the project October of '22, and it's taken us to now to get it done.
Well, that's an
But
issue.
once-
That's
under
an
the
issue.
contract,
That's an
under
issue.
There's an issue
That's
that
an
we
issue.
can't overcome because we are stuck.
And the issue is
Engineer-
the same issue going along with the concession stands. No way we should have concession stands being worked on during football season. I'm going to stick with that, and that's what I'm going with. No, we should not have visitors come to our stadium and have to have construction going on in the parking lot, and then come back and you have construction going on at the concession stands. That's just unacceptable. I'm sorry.
I have a question.
That's very unacceptable.
Okay, so my question is, I mean, I do understand exactly what everyone is saying, and I do understand that it is a process, of course, as it relates to procurement and having to wait and having to have, certain documentation put in place before we move forward with anything. And while I do understand, I also know that, if we were to wait a little longer on certain things, it could cause things to be a little worse, which may add things that we can't predict. However, my question is, looking at the situation while we did start in October, had we had waited, what would that have looked like if we would have waited till after football season?
I couldn't tell you whether or not the contractor would come back and say that price only gonna hold for this amount of time before or next time, or we gotta rebid it because they saying no, price that went up. Because we didn't do it within the time frame we had to spend the money. So it's a procurement thing, and I'm not sure if y'all quite understand, but. if
I understand very well. I
If
understand very well.
We got it, we lose it, and then we gotta try to
understand very
come up with
well.
new money. And trying to come up with new money is always a challenge.
Thank you.
And then one other question, I'm gonna turn it over to Secretary Johnson. The issue in the first home game with the restrooms at the stadium, are the restrooms are working purposes on the second floor?
No, they're not. But that's not on us.
That's a
on the
city-
city.
Okay,
It's on the-
so what's the rectification of that? What's the rectification of that if it's not working on the second floor?
Look here, Chief, President, I can't,
I'm saying, okay, if the people have to use the restroom upstairs in the,
they have to come down
go downstairs where?
to the restroom we got, at the concession.
No, we're not doing that. We need to have 4 laboratories downstairs by the elevator, 2 for men and 2 for women, who have to go to the restroom that's upstairs in that press box. They need 4. I'm saying it again. We need 4. 2 for men.
Okay, let me.
And two for women downstairs by the elevator of the press box.
Let me say this, I'll take that responsibility, Mr. Cyprian. Mr. Cyprian did call me today and ask me, did I want him to get porta potties out? I did tell him no. And the reason why I told him no is because we did not have restrooms on the second floor of the stadium for the Port Neches Port Arthur game. And that's gonna be the largest game we have this year. The students, the game that we're playing on Friday will not be as large. And I said, well, you have porta potties, it's dark in there. There are no lights, and then we have to worry about that. So that's why I say I think we could make it this game without the porta potties by the rest. But he did ask me, and I did say, no porta potty, let's just work it out, make sure because we do have attendants at the restrooms that make sure that the restrooms are clean as people are going in and out. If y'all want porta potties, we can get porta potties, but, I mean, it's dark in that area, and I don't know how safe that would be, I don't know. And then you'd have to have somebody there, because I don't know what our children will do, or what anybody will do.
They're gated.
Well,
They're gated.
it's gated, but they would have, but I mean, but it's not, that gate is not locked, unless we would lock it, that's the only
No,
thing.
they're not locked, 'cause
They're
that's
not
how
locked.
those kids go in.
And I'll say this as well, we try not to use the, well, the elevators, we try not to use them so much because they have some issues as well. But if you want a porta potty out there, that's not an issue, he can get the porta potties out there, but he did ask me, and I did tell him no for that reason, because of the darkness and the low lights, and I don't know if women would be secure going in there or whatever, either.
And then if it's in the back, no one else they wouldn't be able to come through that gate to use it anyway.
No.
So they would have to go on the sides in which they can go anyway.
No, they gave it wasn't locked. I don't know what's supposed to be.
Well, normally, in the past, when I first joined the board, I know we used to have an officer who would be down there regulating that from time to time, but, nobody really goes through that gate unless something, and I believe that they changed that because, a lot of fans, I've witnessed people drop their cell phones or keys through the bleachers, so they have to go through the back and go through that gate to actually go down there and get it. So that could be a reason, but I know no one has really just come up to the press box who wasn't supposed to be there. So it hasn't really been an issue.
It's my time.
Yeah, go, Michelle.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be real quick. First of all, since we brought up the restroom thing, because I had a comment about the construction, but with the bathroom, I'll be the positive light because I was not able to, of course I had to come down. I have a 4-year-old, whatever, no matter how many times we go to the restroom before we leave, as soon as we get there, she gotta go. So I had to go down there twice to the restroom, but I will say that I'm not sure who was in charge of that, if it is you guys or not, but they were immaculate. The ladies' restroom that I went in, it was very clean, it was very neat and everything. So, I mean, of course, it is convenient to be able to use it up higher, but I do give kudos to the fact that since we did have to all use that one, that it was very nice and neat, in my opinion. And also, I mean, of course, the travel to get there would probably be my only issue. I mean, because so much congestion, but to me, that's a security issue. That had nothing to do with the maintenance. But it was very clean, so I just wanted to note that because I was like, oh Lord, I have to go in this concession stand bathroom. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but everything was really nice in the fact that we're faced with something that we don't have control over with them not working. So I do give kudos to that. Now, to my original comment about the construction, I'll just play devil's advocate because I do understand that we don't want it going on during the season, but I do also understand the procurement and the delays of it. And if it just so happens to fall that it's starting during the season, I mean, it is what it is, because the issue is that we want to rectify the safety situation, regardless of how it looks to anybody else, or as long as we have our barricades up. But maybe we can, in the future, do a better, not a better job, but see if we can outweigh maybe some other options of maybe a, who were we waiting on? I'm sorry, I'm losing my word.
Engineer.
The engineer, like maybe, is there a chance that we could have gotten another opinion, or was it that there was the only one that answered us, maybe to get it in a faster timeline?
Normally, when you secure the services of an engineer, and we have to do that through procurement, through a contract, we brought to the board the contract that we secured with them. You cannot go to another engineer or anyone without canceling that contract.
Right,
What
okay.
we did is we did contact the engineer several times and ask what's the status. They were still working on it. We can't tell you what was the problem or how long it takes on their end, but I can tell you that Mr. Scipion and Mr. Rito, they met with him before October.
Right.
And he provided us, it took him a while, he provided us with the scope of what he thought it needed to take place. After he does that, we have to go to the attorney and get the attorney to provide
an actual contract. And like I said, he's under contract. So at that point, you really can't do anything but wait until you get it, unless you cancel it, because you can't have two of them at the same time.
Right, okay, that's understandable, because I wasn't familiar with how that process works. So knowing that, I mean, seems like we did what we could. I hate that it did fall in the middle of the season, but our ultimate goal is just to try to get it fixed as quick as we can, so thank y'all.
And then also, tomorrow, I think there was 32 stalls, 32 parking spaces that will be barricaded, but we have 1,300 that are at the stadium, 1,300 parking areas.
Okay.
And
I would just
we
like-
do consider scheduling around the events of this district, school closures, et cetera. So due to the conditions in construction, material deliveries, I mean, in contracts,
Yes.
don't receive bids, we have to go back out, ask to rebid a project, that's 2 months.
Yeah.
Then a month to get the contract signed,
Yeah.
board approval and all, so you lose 3 months out of a year just to get something done.
And also, Mr. Arthur, and not to cut you off, and then we definitely have respect for each sport. As a matter of fact, we talked to Brian Morgan about the stadium issues and what he thought. And we delayed some things because he said he needed it for a certain time. So we delayed it based on what the athletic director did tell us. So we're talking with the coaches to see exactly what their needs are in order to not be so intrusive in what they're doing. We understand during athletic seasons, for all sports, we respect our coaches.
Soccer. and
Good
everything.
example was last year with the stadium turf. We fought them, a new scoreboard. I think they were working up to the Friday the game played, so we.
We were moving dirt. We were moving.
Dr. Portery was out himself.
Makes sense.
Dr. Portery was out himself trying to make sure the turf was everything was in place for the turf. So we're doing all we can.
Yeah. And then, as you all mentioned, this is work that has. Oh, okay. But go ahead.
Thank you. First off, I want to just thank you for the work that you do. I know to keep this district running, it requires a lot. However, do we have an estimated time as to when this problem with the water is going to be resolved?
Well, I'm talking with the city every day, and when they give me new numbers, I'm happy. Right now, we're at 40 PSI. We need to get it up past 40, we need at 45 to 50. That's with the main line running down, Stadium Road runs about 55 PSI. So they work as hard as they can, get the leaks fixed, and all those leaks are contributing to the water pressure.
Well, thank you for what you do. We appreciate it. Thank you. In spite of how it looks.
And I think the main thing they were trying to tell us that, and we still don't understand everything, but the towers needed to fill up because the towers were low, and that brought the water pressure down. So that's why we can use the toilets on the first floor and not on the second, because the pressure is not as high as we would like it. But I will say kudos to TJ. They have done an excellent job becoming acclimated to one story toilets. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, lastly, we'll do this pretty quickly. We definitely want to thank our board members for being so supportive as we move forward with security. As we mentioned, our Chief Civ is here, and there are some things with the 88 legislative session that we have to do. We definitely want to thank Dr. Getwood for being over the security for the entire district. And I am glad he is on it because there's a lot. And he's, Dr. Getwood is very precise and very particular about things. And that is a good thing when you're talking about security, because we are talking about the safety of our students and our staff members. So we have a lot that's going on, and I'll go through this really quickly. Okay, do you have a clicker? Okay, I can, because I'm gonna click I think I'm gonna click quicker than what you click. Okay, the 88 House Bill 3 was enacted, and definitely that includes all of the money and funds that we have to put into put into our security funds in order that, and this goes with fencing, this is with all of the glass that we're addressing on the doors that we're doing right now, everything that we have. The timeline was filed on March 8, 2023. We signed in House and Senate on March 29th. It went to the governor May 30th. It was signed on June 14th, and the effective date for all of this is September 1st. And when I say this, the biggest thing that we're doing is trying to figure out how do we place officers, armed security officers, in all of our schools. And when we say all of our schools, we're including PAC, the Cate Building, which constitutes about 16 campuses. Armed security officers required. Chapter 37, what they've done, they've added to Chapter 37, amended. The board must ensure that at least one armed security officer is present during regular school hours at each district campus. A security officer described in Section A must be a school district peace officer, a school resource officer, or a commissioned peace officer employed by security, and that they're pretty much interchangeable. What you all have done is you have approved the good cause exemption. A good cause exemption is where the board can claim a good cause based on funding or personnel. Now, obviously, when the 88 legislative session was passed, it was enacted, and by September 1st, it told us that we had to have security officers at every campus. Now, that law was not just for the Port Arthur Independent School District, that was for the state of Texas, where we have 1,200 districts, and every campus in every district has to have a security officer. So it was a mammoth overtaking, trying to figure out how would we get officers in our schools. We say kudos again to the Port Arthur Independent School District police officers, as well as the Port Arthur police officers. When I tell you they have worked with us every step of the way, and they've helped us to get where we are. So we are a partnership with PAPD as well as PAISD PD. A lot of A's and B's. We have an alternative standard, which the board has elected to go through. And that could be a school marshal or a school district employee that has the safety training and can able to carry. Now, as we talked, I think, well, we are not, even though our policy says we could, an employee carrying a gun is not where we are. We're nowhere, and I'm definitely not in favor of our teachers carrying firearms. And I think that's what we talked about as well. I think when we took on the career, or when we decided to go into the career of education, I don't think that was one of our goals, is to be able to carry a gun on our side. We work with children, we love children, and I do not think we have it in our mind that one day, if there is a threat on a campus, that any one of our employees, specifically a teacher, would want to go to the threat and possibly have to kill a student. That is something that we are not mentally prepared for, nor are we ready. Obviously, we want to make sure everyone is safe, but we want to try to keep that away from our staff. There's documentation that we have to start preparing, and we're doing that now in preparation of making sure that we are in compliance with House Bill 3. Implications for Port Arthur. Right now, we have 9 police officers. We have 9 elementary schools, including Wheatley, 2 middle schools, and 5 high schools when you include the Cate and Port Arthur alternative schools. And then we said we would have 2 additional in case we have to put someone out due to vacation sickness. So right now we're looking at 27 armed security officers that we're trying to get in the Port Arthur Independent School District. There are compliance issues that we have to make sure that we go through. As well, the school marshal must possess license to carry, must pass a psychological, must have a school marshal course. The course is 80 hours, and every 2 years a refresher. Under 32, the educational code, remember that the state only gave us 28 cents. It increased our allotment 28 cents per average daily attendance, and they gave us $15,000 per campus, which was about a total of $242,000. Well, in order to implement this completely, it's going to be about 1.3 million. So that means that's going to affect our budget from now on, and we are not complaining about that because we understand that that is what we need, and we're okay. Recommendations, we're going to utilize the good cause exception because we have not put those things in place by September 1. We're going to adopt an alternative standard where we're going to hire school marshals. I have given you the job posting on tonight, and we will post for school marshals on tomorrow. So thank you for us allowing us to do that and ensuring that our schools and facilities are safe. These are recommendations that we've shared with you, along with the duties and responsibilities of our school marshal and police officers. And our marshals will fall directly under the police chief, which is straight line to Dr. Getwood, who will oversee security district-wide. So we're excited about what's happening. We definitely want the best for our students. We understand we're in an environment where we have to be on guard at all times, and we're not going to take it lightly. We're going to put everything in place. And I will say this, we will never be satisfied with what we're doing because we can never be comfortable, because when you get comfortable, that's when things happen. So we will never be comfortable, no matter if we are able to put 27 officers in this school district. We will always have to be on guard for the safety and security of our students and our staff. That concludes our report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Portery. Minutes. Considering if appropriate, approve the minutes of the August 24th, 2023 Board of Trustee minutes and the minutes of the August 28th, 2023 Board of Trustee minutes.
So move.
Second. A motion and a second on the floor. A motion by Trustee Ambrose, second by Trustee Narcisse. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda. The following items, which are of a routine and recurring nature, has been designated consent agenda items by the board president per policy BE local. All of the items in the consent agenda will be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a trustee, in which the event, the item or items will be withdrawn immediately from its individual consideration in its normal sequence after the item is not required. Separate discussion has been acted upon. Trustees, give you a minute to go through consent agenda items. I'd like to call a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 15.
So
moved. I have a motion on the floor by Trustee Narcisse.
Second.
Second by Trustee Brown. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Personnel, Dr. Portery.
Yes, board members, I've given you the list of teachers for your approval.
Consider if appropriate to approve the employment of teachers.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Ambrose, second by Trustee Narcisse. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? There is no information at this time. Motion passes. Sorry about that. There's no information at this time. Dr. Porter, do you have anything?
I have nothing more to say.
Nothing more to say. I like that.
One minute, Mr. President.
Just to make sure, I did come back at 6:30.
Yes, no, I have you down for, and Mrs. Johnson for 5:45. 5:45, I have that written down, 5:45.
Okay, one thing we want to thank, as we said, Mrs. LeBlanc will be leaving us again. She keeps coming and coming back, going back. So she might be back again. You never know. We're not going to say ever. But Mrs. LeBlanc, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done. She's worked extremely hard, sick, and everything else. But we will be calling on her again. So she's, as long as I have to do this, we're going to be calling and say what's going on, how to do this, how to make this agenda. So thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with you again, I'm sure.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
I'm going to miss your text messages.
At this time, I'd like to call adjournment at 7:44.
Anyway.
Second.
It's moved and second. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.